Good morning. I wanted to come on here and discuss something that I believe our helper, the Holy Spirit, helped me to understand. It was a situation that I recently went through, and right after the situation happened, it's like my mind just opened up to um, this thing, and the Holy Spirit just started pouring in. And it's about how the enemy grooms us from a young age for a life of sin and conflict. And a lot of us know this, but I wanted to go into how maybe like one specific area of how this happens sometimes. So I want to talk about the topic of rejection and abandonment, and how the enemy, one way, because there's so many different things that the enemy does, but one way that the enemy uses rejection and abandonment to groom us for a life of sin, conflict, separation from God, and all of those things like that. So this is some stuff that when the Holy Spirit started pouring into me, I just started writing it down. So it says, if unhealed and unchecked, feelings of abandonment and rejection can lead to a sense of toxic independence. And I've never heard that term before. I don't know if it's an actual term, toxic independence, but to me, that's basically what it is, what it manifests as. So because of being left to fend for ourselves at a time where we need guidance the most, which is in our childhood, where we are learning from our parents or adults, or we're just in a state of learning, period. We need guidance. We cannot lead ourselves and parent ourselves as young children. We don't come into this world knowing everything. So as we are left to fend for ourselves, we begin to rely on ourselves for our own survival. When you're a child that can't really do anything for yourself, but lack of support forces you to have to do it anyway. Catch that, because a lot of children are forced to depend on themselves for their own survival, and they shouldn't even have to do that. That's never the intent from the first place, right? But when we're put in a position where we have to do it anyway, even though we can't, we literally don't have the capacity, but we have to, we're pushed in a place to where we actually have to, you begin to focus only on self. It's inevitable. You will focus only on yourself. You will have little regard for others, and you'll be unable to discern the needs of others, and rightfully so, because how can you think about anybody else when, as a child, you have to worry about things that you shouldn't even have to worry about? You can't have a normal life and see others properly, because your world becomes so small where you have to literally focus on. A lot of children are at a place where down to where they even have to figure out their own way to get food, shelter, clothing. It's that bad for some people. It's not that in every case, some situations it's not as bad as that, but that's just the most extreme case where a child has to figure out what they're going to eat, where's that food going to come from, where they're going to stay, and stuff like that. How can you really consider anyone else at that time? So being repeatedly abandoned and let down, this self-preservation produces a high level of selfishness, a lack of respect for others, individuality, or perspective. Because like I said, your world becomes so small. All you see is you. All you know is you. You don't have time to think about somebody else, because you're trying to figure out how to heal yourself, how to get this or that for yourself, how to comfort yourself through the things that you're going through. So how can you think about anything else? And that leads to, as you get older, It leads to a great level of selfishness, because you, like I said, you don't have any respect for others' individuality or perspective, which is so important. So you get to a place where you thinking about you only. Oh, people keep calling me. I'm gonna answer this when I get off of this video. You're thinking about you only, but in life, you know, it gets to a point where it's a way that I'm trying to say this. All you see is yourself, but it's a double-sided token, because all you see is yourself, and at the same time you don't see yourself. All you see is your perspective on things. All you see is the way you look at things, the way you feel, the way you think. That's all you know. And you don't really consider what others are thinking, what others are feeling. So you're seeing yourself and your perspective, but at the same time you don't see yourself, because you don't understand how you're being perceived. You know what you're perceiving, but you don't understand the other side of that, how you're being perceived. So you only see yourself, and at the very same time you don't see yourself. So you don't realize how selfish you actually are, because this feels right, this feels natural to you, because I'm just trying to survive. And it doesn't even cross your mind as a thought of I'm just trying to survive. It just is. So any pushback that you get from anyone, it's not easily understood. You're not thinking that you're doing anything wrong, or that you're coming off any certain type of way by not considering others' individuality or perspective, because you this is natural to you. This is the way you've always been, and this is how the enemy gets us to be in a life of conflict. How did I forgot exactly how I said that. Oh, he grooms us, right? So all of this time during our childhood, we're going through all of this rejection and abandonment and everything. And ultimately, it's, the ultimate goal is we reject any kind of guidance, because I've had to rely on myself, my own mentality, my own way of thinking, my own this and my own that. So if you haven't had anybody with a sense of authority over your life that have been able to pour into you or teach you anything, how could you ever get to a place, not how could you ever, because it is possible, but it'll be hard for you to get to a place where you can receive anything from God, where you can acknowledge God, submit to God in a real way. You might be able to, recognize that there is a God, that God exists, but as far as really surrendering, you'll struggle, and because you've built this person, that feels like, look, I got this. I've been taking care of myself my whole life. I know what I'm doing. I got all of this knowledge, all of this. Nobody can't tell me nothing. And you won't realize that, as you're acknowledging God, that you're putting him in the same category with anybody else, that, you know best. So you'll have conflict in relationships, because that being selfish is really no good for a relationship, because you're only thinking about how things affect you, how people are making you feel, just your perspective on everything. And so that is one of the ways, I'm the same person calling me again, that is one of the ways that Satan uses abandonment and rejection to groom us for a life of sin and conflict. So in the sin, this is more on the conflict part, but I think I'm going to make more videos on this topic, how the enemy grooms us for a life of sin and conflict, and just show different areas from a psychological standpoint, because I've always had an interest in that area. I don't have a degree or anything like that, but I've always read and done research and all of these different kind of things, because that's just my passion. I just care about like people, why they do what they do, and I'm just always paying attention to those type of things, always learning about those type of things. And since I've come to know God, He's been opening up so many things to me in that area in a way that is just so amazing. And I think I will do more of these videos, because I want to be able to present my perspective of this to the world, and maybe get like some, if anybody have any ideas to bounce off of it or whatever, maybe create discussions and things like that. But I don't want these people to keep these people waiting too long. We answer these phone calls, so I'm gonna get out here. God bless whoever is watching. I love you all. I love all people. Y'all have a great day. Bye-bye.